welcome back to Character Voice Building with me, Nando Garza, and I am here to help you build and develop better character voices. So this is the first of my series that I will call Development Tips. So it's not necessarily about developing a voice, it's more about developing your career or developing your mindset about it. And the first thing I want to start with these development tips is the idea to just roll with the punches. There are times where a great opportunity might come along, but every step of that way until you actually get to the session or the work or whatever just seems to be obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, just unusually so. So this is something that has happened to me many, many times before, and every time I'm glad to actually try it out and see what happens. And thankfully, it has worked pretty much every time. And the way I see it is like a rite of passage. I kind of see it like a test from the universe to see if you're ready to ascend to a new level in your career. And it sounds a little hocus pocusy, and I don't quite fully believe it's the universe and that kind of thing, but it feels like it. The outcome of it does feel like, oh, after you've done it, you're definitely in a new level. So I'm going to do this by giving you an example of one of the many times this has happened. This was early on in my career. I had started doing things professionally. I was getting paid for it in terms of voiceover. But I didn't really have any major brands. I didn't have any really big clients in my roster. So one day I saw an ad come through for Coca-Cola. I auditioned and it was all right. I thought I did all right, but I didn't hear anything back from them, as you usually do. So I just went with it, kind of forgot about it. A few days later, we were getting ready to leave to Idaho to see my parents-in-law. I think for Christmas or something like that. And as we were going, I started getting really sick. I got this terrible headache. I started getting chills. I got like a fever. My throat was itchy and scratchy and my voice was weird. So whatever, by the time we got to the airport, I was just sick as a dog. It was not good. Suddenly, I get an email saying, "You booked the Coca-Cola thing." And I was like, oh shit, wow, well, that's cool. But the session is tomorrow morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And we want you to use Source Connect, and we want you to be able to do video playback through Source Connect. I had never used Source Connect before. I didn't have it. I had never even known that you could do video playback through Source Connect. I was insanely sick and my voice was kind of dying. And it was just a nightmare scenario. So I managed to just respond right before we boarded. It's like, that sounds great. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 or something. Just because I thought like, okay, maybe this will get better. Maybe I can figure it out. I was flying for a while. I couldn't do any research on Source Connect or anything like that because I was flying. So on our layover, I brought out my laptop and I called a composer friend of mine who I worked for in LA because I knew he had used Source Connect for recording strings and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, what do we do? Like, how does this generally work? So he gave me some advice, but he's like, I'm not quite sure about the video stuff, but just try it out, download it and try it out. So I downloaded a trial of Source Connect. It took forever because, airport internet's not great. And I only had a few minutes to play around with it. So I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens. I got into the next plane. We get to Idaho. We get to Idaho pretty late, at like 11:30 at night or something like that. And so I get there and I just trying to figure out, I stay up just like another hour or stuff like that, just trying to see how to get this to work. And I went to bed hoping that the next day I would be a little better. Next day comes along and I don't feel better. I still feel sick as a dog. My throat is just not great. My voice is all crackly and weird. So I wake up at like 6 in the morning. My parents-in-law also get up and help me out. They gave me this soothing throat thing that I tried just to see if it worked. I hydrated as much as I possibly could. They let me use their closet to record, which was great. And by the way, I was very lucky because I had brought my mobile recording rig. I guess it was just a USB mic and my laptop. So I was like, okay, well, let's see. So I tried setting everything up, and it was half an hour before the session, and I still didn't know how to do the video stuff. And it was just awful. I could not figure it out. I did tests, and it just didn't work. And like 10 minutes before the session, I finally figured out how to do it. I was hydrating and everything. The time was coming. We started the session, and it worked. Everything just worked perfectly fine. My voice started cooperating for some reason. I think a lot of people refer to it as stage health or stuff like that, where like for some reason, when you're on stage and you're feeling awful, you feel fine for that moment in time, which is exactly what happened to me. I was able to do the session. I was able to do Source Connect. I was able to do the video. I recorded all the takes perfectly fine. The last few takes were a little scratchy and it was getting kind of bad, but I made it fine, and they enjoyed it. They thought it was great. They say, thank you so much. This was awesome. And I finished it. I closed off that session, saved it. And seconds after that, my voice just went, I'm not doing this anymore. And literally less than an hour later, I could not speak a single word. My voice was completely dead. But it worked. It worked. And it felt like a rite of passage. Obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. But somehow you still pull through. And because of that, I was able to get Coca-Cola as one of my clients in my resume. And because of that, I was able to get higher clients, better paying clients, more renowned brands, that kind of stuff. So it's rough, but it worked out great. And again, this is something that has happened over and over and over again, and it will happen to you too. Consider this a rite of passage. If you go through with it, if you decide to face that challenge and you succeed, you will elevate to a whole new level of professionalism, of just your career in general. So don't be afraid. Roll with the punches. Take it as a fun challenge. Enjoy the adrenaline. It's thrilling. It's very nerve-wracking, but it's well worth it, I promise. So thank you very much for joining me today for this development tip. Hopefully this will be the first of many. And yeah, if you like this, please like and subscribe. And if you can share, that would be amazing too. That really helps the channel. We'll be back soon with more fun content, with more RCSB breakdowns, stuff like that. So yeah, stick around. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, be kind, and we'll see you soon.